The Beach FM Business Lunch Show, brought to you by placemakers Kapiti and Horowhenua. Together we're building New Zealand.
Welcome back to Business Lunch on Beach FM, and it is time to talk employment now, and it is a great honour to welcome into the show the head of ELE Group, Brent Mulholland. G'day, Brent.
How are you, Damian?
I'm very well. How are you holding up during this time?
Yeah, look, it's good, buddy. It's interesting times, eh? And for us, it's been challenging like all businesses. But look, at the end of the day, if you've built a great team around you, I think, providing you control the controllables and stay optimistic, you'll do all right. And so we're doing all right as a business. Obviously, we're looking forward to getting back into things next week. But yeah, we're doing pretty good, bud. Awesome. Hey, mate, can we just hear a bit about your story? You've been in the employment game for a long time. You've now got ELE Group, formerly CEO of Allied Workforce. Just a bit about who Brent Mulholland is. Yeah, look, I have been in the business, I suppose, of recruitment and labour hire for a long time. I was a GM for AWF through their private days and also as a public company. So it was a great business, and it was great to be part of that organisation, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about recruitment. I decided about 6 years ago to get into business for myself, and it actually started off with a contracting company down in Christchurch. But look, at the end of the day, you go back to what you know and to what you actually are passionate about. And for me, it was all about people. So we established ELE, and we really got cranking. We were quite fortunate. We went down to Christchurch and picked up some pretty good business. Moved to Auckland, so we really did, whilst open up the business in Parafran, we expanded the Christchurch and Auckland pretty quickly. And look, we tried a few things. We went to New Plymouth and we went to Napier, and that didn't go so well. But ultimately, what we have done over the last 6 years is we've built up ELE Group into a group of companies. So we've got 3 successful businesses now: Transport Solutions, which is a business that provides truck and trailers to clients and to organisations, and also has a professional drive team attached to it. We've got Bespoke Security Group, and that's a great security business providing sort of high-end security officers. We do work with the likes of the Auckland DHB, and as you can imagine, that's pretty busy at this particular time.
Yep.
And ELE Limited, which has got about 700 workers throughout the country on a range of different jobs across a range of different sectors. So over the last 5 years, 6 years, we've had some good success. We've had some pretty tough times, there's no doubt about that. But we have made it on the Deloitte Fast 50 Index 2 years running, 2018, 2019. So we're pretty proud of that, Damian. And we're not going to let this COVID-19 crisis knock us back. And it is going to certainly change things. We can't predict really what the future is, and we're all in this together now, and it's real-time learning. But what we do know is when you build a great team around you and you stay optimistic about the opportunities, we'll continue to grow, and we'll continue to look for those opportunities and make the most of them.
Absolutely. Employment, I've had a little bit of background in recruitment, and I absolutely loved it. I love the people, and there's nothing better than seeing someone's face when you've changed their lives by getting them a job. When did that change where you had to take that you were with AWF but then started your family business of ELE? What was the trigger there to take that step as a business owner?
Look, I always wanted to work for myself. I had a goal to work for myself. And, I think there's that old saying that you do a lot of learning up until you're 40. And then when you're 40 to sort of 60, you're actually making money with what you've learned. And I think that's quite right. I've done a lot of learning in the corporate world and various roles that I've had, national roles with multinational companies. And that's been a great experience. And then to take that into your own thing and work for yourself, it's a risk, absolutely. But it's a risk well worth taking. Just back yourself and get on with it. And I always wanted to work for myself, control my own destiny, make a bit of money, and give back. And I think giving back's a big part as well. When I got this business, when I started it, we did want to create a legacy business, and by that I mean something we could look back on in time and be really proud of what we've built. A business that employs a lot of people, a business that provides a lot of people with opportunities to grow their own careers and secure their own family futures. And to me, that was always quite important. And also a business that gives back to the communities. And that's really important. Now, I know a lot of companies talk about it, but don't do it. And, I can absolutely say that ELE has done that for a long time. We give a lot back to the communities that we live in. And even around Kapiti here with the Mary Potter Hospice Festival, we do a lot and have done a lot for child cancer in the past. And we get behind organisations like Softball New Zealand, who I think do a great job. And again, it's that whole community, family, sport, and all that sort of stuff, So it's really been nice to be able to build a business that's successful and is able to give some of those profits back to worthwhile causes, charities and the likes.
Outstanding, mate. Well, I'm very proud to say that the very first softball tournament I was the announcer for was at ELE Ballpark in Auckland. So, mate, let's talk employment now. Pre-level 4 lockdown, pre-COVID-19, how are we tracking with employment?
Look, I think there was a lot going on. I mean, the economy was fairly strong, and certainly the sectors that we were operating in. And we do a lot of work in construction, as you know, Damian. But we also do a lot of work in manufacturing and transport and various other sectors. And look, I would say the economy was pretty strong, and we were looking forward to a really good future. FY21, and that's just basically this year leading into next year. Our financial planning was looking pretty good. Our strategic plan was looking really good. So I think it was all cool. And then all of a sudden, literally overnight, that changed. It changed for everyone, every one of your listeners. Businesses that we thought New Zealand was so solid, and we've seen we've seen how this COVID-19's impact on them so much. Take Air New Zealand, take the development, for instance, that Auckland International Airport was going to do. They were going to spend, I think, nearly $2 billion on a major development, or certainly in excess of $1 billion. And now that's stopped because of COVID-19. So all of the contractors and workers that might have been involved in that contract, obviously it's not going to go ahead now. So there's a number of things like that. Sky City, I understand, they've just pulled away from a development they were going to do in Queenstown, and obviously all of the workers that would have been impacted by that. No more tourism. I'm not teaching any of your listeners anything they don't already know, but what's happened is there's a whole lot of people now, unfortunately and sadly, displaced and out of work through no fault of their own, and it's no fault of the business either. Who would have ever seen this coming? No. I was listening to a webinar of a very successful CEO of a major global company, and he said, if you had sat on boardrooms for the last, let's say you sat on 50 boardroom meetings, I guarantee none of those boards, when they were looking at their SWOT analysis, would have predicted that there was going to be this global pandemic. And so no one saw it coming. It hit everyone out of the blue. But look, it is what it is, and people have to react. And I think as much as there's downside, and there absolutely is, there's always opportunities, eh? And I think there is opportunities for people to look at what their skill set is. And that's where companies like mine can really help out. And look, we would encourage people to give us a call, and we can help with that. And identify your skill set. You might have been working in hospitality, but you've got a lot of transferable skills. And you come to an organisation like ours, we can top those skills up with some other skills and find you employment in another sector. And I tell you what, quite often, when one door closes, a new one opens, and you go through that new door, then the opportunities that are in front of you, you might find in 5 years' time you're just in a great place, And if it hadn't have been for COVID-19, pushing you out of the comfort zone that you might be in, you might not be in that great place. So look, see it as an opportunity. Have a look at your skills. Talk to companies like ours, and we can absolutely help you into new careers and other sectors.
Absolutely, mate. Well, I know recruitment, you can change your hat at the drop of a dime. This would have been no different. What those people, some of those people out there might be thinking, recruitment agency, but you can help them along the whole process, can't you? And even look at training at different points.
Oh, look, mate, I think there's a real, it's sort of an unqualified, a lot of people just don't understand the value of what organisations like ELE Group does and other agencies. They just don't get it. And look, when they join companies like ours, they will start to understand that there are lots of opportunities. We take people, and let's look at, we employ a lot of very skilled people, a lot of high-end people, and we employ a lot of unskilled people. And they join our business, and over time, they pick up a lot of experience because we're able to move them to different sites, and into different sectors and give them opportunities, give them new experiences. And quite often what you find is they end up landing in a sector which they really enjoy. It just fits. And throughout this whole period, we've been giving them training, and it might be simple training like site safe training. It might be getting them through a traffic controller's level 1 TC ticket so they can work on the roads. It could be anything like that. It might be customer service training, who knows. But ultimately, what organisations like ELE do is they provide those opportunities for people to do the training, to experience what it's like to work in different sectors of industry with different employers. And look, quite often, you might be in a sector, but you just don't like your employer. The good thing about working with organisations like ours is that you can talk to us about that and we'll put you somewhere else. And so, people have this idea that working for organisations like ours doesn't give them the security they need. Really, they couldn't be further from the truth. And I'll just give you one example, Damian. A couple of years ago, people might recall eBert Construction. Now, here's a construction company been around for a long, long time. eBert Construction, unfortunately, ended up going into receivership and being wound up. And that affected the lives of many, many people, many, many contractors, many, many employees. Well, one of my companies was doing the foundations work for Middlemore Hospital, subcontracting to eBert Construction. And so when the administrators went in and closed the gates, no one knew this was going to happen. The guys were rocking up to work to carry on as they normally would, only to be fined they were shut out. Their tools were locked away. They were shut out. They had no idea what to do. I think I had about 14 people working on that site, 14 men. The very next day, all of my guys were working across any one of our 60 construction sites in Auckland that we work on. Security is there, whereas all the other guys were not. Now, here's a labour hire organisation providing that level of security. You'll remember the convention centre when it caught on fire. I think that was 6 months ago.
Yes.
So when that caught on fire, I had about 20 guys working on site. During a site meeting, it was shut down. There was so much water damage. It was shut down. Tools were damaged. So all the tradies couldn't work. And people are standing on site going, what do we do? All of my guys, within the pretty much the next few days, were working across, as I said, any one of our 60 construction sites. We went out, we purchased some tools, about $3,000 a set, each one of them, and off they go. And that is ELE. That's what we do. That's what makes us a little bit different. And that's why there is security in working for an organisation like ours. There's variety. There's that whole family feel. Every one of our workers means a lot to us. They're all valued. We value them highly, and we look after their future. And I'm proud to say that we've got in excess of 700, probably about nearly 500 wage workers, but we employ a lot of contractors as well, a lot of independent contractors and subcontractors. So well in excess of 700 workers on any given day. And look, they're all getting paid and they're all going to go back to work. And we're looking forward to going down to level 3 alert and ultimately all these alert levels being lifted. But next week, we're working really hard right now to make sure that all our guys are getting back into work next week across all of the sectors that we operate in.
Outstanding, mate. Well, anyone sitting at home, if you are sitting there pondering what is next for you guys, hit up the team at ELE Group. I'm sure they will be happy to answer any of your questions.
Yeah, look, hey, thanks, Damian. Look, we've got operations in Auckland, Hamilton, Palmerston North, Parapram here. We've got our office on Rimu Road. That's our main support office. So that's where I'm based most days. We've got an operation in Wellington with an office out in Moa Hut and one in Christchurch, and we're continuing to expand. And look, we're not going to let COVID-19 slow that down. I think it's like any tragedy or any disaster, any crisis. You just got to keep pushing forward. Make good decisions, pull your team together, communicate, make sure everyone's in the loop, and be positive. See the opportunities. So don't be in the sand. If you're out there and you're feeling a bit down, that's okay. But pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and just get on with it. It is what it is. Make the most of it.
Well said, Brent. Well said. Well, I'd love to catch up with you in a couple of weeks to hear what level 3 and level 2 is looking like for you. But thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, my friend. Go well.
Good on you, Damian. Thanks very much.